guys, it's Ashley, your scrapping nerd, and I'm back today with a layout for Scraplift Crafternoon. It's where a bunch of my crafty peeps and I get together and we scraplift an amazing layout from an amazing creator. And today we are scraplifting Brandi Jo, and she did this beautiful 2-page layout. So I was excited to scraplift a 2-pager. I don't do many 2-pagers, so this was kind of a fun change. And so all of Brandi's information is below. And I am using the 49 Market Vintage Artistry Spice collection. And I honestly forgot I had this. And it's so pretty. Like, it's very fall oriented. And there's a lot of pumpkins. But their colors are just beautiful. And so I was excited to use this. And I had the laser cut elements, the ephemera pack, and the papers. And I also pulled in my leftover nature study I thought I might use because I was a little worried about so I'm scrapbooking pictures of my husband and I in Central Park, and I was worried that the colors of the spice might actually not work too well, like the floral and such. And so I pulled in the nature study in case I needed more greenery, but I actually didn't use any of that nature study. And I love how this layout turns out with the kind of bright colors for these pictures. But I started with this leaf paper, and there's only one, so I just got the paper pack, and so there's just one of each kind in there. And so I wanted to use it across the 2 pages. And so I cut the leaf paper, I cut in 3 inches so that I could have a top and a bottom. And then this brown paper I cut in 6 inches. And so that way it covered the page for both sides to make them match. And I pulled in, you saw just some like 12 by 12 scrap papers that I don't, like I have a drawer that I just put 12 by 12 papers that I don't really think I'll ever use in, and I use it as a scrap bin. And so I pulled that in just so that I could keep my dimensions correctly so that my layout wouldn't become a wonky size and not fit my layout or in my album. So I just used it as a guide, and I glued my strips to that paper so that it stays in the orientation that I want it to. And actually that paper was really thin, so it worked out good because 49 Market has really thick paper, and so when you start to stack too many of them on top, your layout gets really heavy. And so having that 12 by 12 scrap paper that was my guide be a really thin one worked out perfectly. And so I was trying to figure out how I wanted my photos. And the thing too that I loved about Brandi Jo's layout was how many photos she got on this 2-page layout. So on the right side, she had 3 photos, and on the left side, she had 3 photos. And so I actually managed to get 4 photos on the right side because on one of them, I made 2 smaller photos so that I could get all of the kind of fun pictures that we took while we were in Central Park. And then on the left side, she had kind of one photo that stood out. She had a really pretty section where it was like a bunch of different squares of different pattern paper, and I really thought I was going to do that, and then the papers told me what I was going to do. And so, but I did like how it was kind of one photo was kind of made to be like the special photo. And so I did, for this one, I did the photo of my husband and I, like our selfie in Central Park. And so what I wanted was to do a double photo mat, and I pulled that orange kind of plaid in, and I thought that if I had a white photo mat, it would stand out too much. So I took I have this like 4x6 photo paper pad that I'm never going to use the 100 in there, so I kind of use that as scrap paper too. So I took that and I used the backside, which is white, and I used my Distress Oxide and Ground Espresso, and I just inked the edges. And then because it's Distress Oxide, if you put water on it and you kind of pull it up, it kind of looks rustic, I guess is the word. And so I did that as my first photo mat, and then I will mat that with this orange plaid. And so I just like having the double photo mats on all the photos, and I like the hint of orange. It kind of pulls in the orange that are in the leaves of the paper that I cut for the top and bottoms of the layouts. And I only have, again, one paper of this orange plaid, so you'll see I'll Frankenstein some of my photo mats together, but you don't even notice it in the end. First of all, you don't notice it because it's a really thin photo mat. Like, I don't put a thick border on especially the ones that I Frankenstein. And then because of all my embellishments and just how busy that pattern is, you don't even notice that there's a break in it. And so here's where I'm going to Frankenstein it. So I took this little paper, that piece of scrap that I had left, and I cut it into strips that I'm going to then just put around the photo. And I use my washi tape. Like, I have so much washi tape, and I have learned that I'm just not a washi tape user. And so I would say probably a couple of years ago I had bought like tubes of washi tape, and so you don't get to pick all the patterns that are in the tube, but I might like one or two that were in there. And so I have a bunch of washi tape that I know I'm not going to use, especially not like the full roll of it. And so it's kind of my utility washi tape, and so I use it when I need to, stick something together in the back just to hold it until I can glue it down or whatever. And so I just use some washi tape to get the edges of the photo mat down, and then I will trim them down, and you can't, like I said, you can't even tell. And I use the ground espresso just to ink the edges of the photo mats as well. And I don't show you me doing that in all of the photos, but it's the same process that I did for all of the, I think there's 5 photo mats in the end, is just, the double photo mat, distress the white paper, spray it with water, and then put it on the orange plaid. And I think that it just kind of helps pull the photos out from the background. And so I got my plan for the right side, and it took me a minute to figure out how I wanted the photos to lay out. I think Brandi Jo's photos were a little bit smaller, so they didn't lay over on top of each other. But I didn't want to cut down my photos either, because the scenery of Central Park, it was absolutely beautiful. And so I had to put that middle one kind of on top of the others, but it turned out good. And so this is where I start to deviate. I loved this this paper. And so I thought, let's put this on that left side of the layout where she had a bunch of squares of different patterns. I'm just going to fussy cut out these flowers so that that's going to be on my left side. And I like how it turned out. I fussy cut on the right of that, and then I even cut out some chunks from the left side, so it wasn't just like a straight line of the floral that so you could tell that I cut it out from the paper. And so I think that it really brought some color into it, and because I did that to the left side, I think that that's why I was okay with not having like the greenery from the nature study and just using the bright floral and the greenery that came in the 49 Market Spice. I think that's why in the end it turned out okay, because I was just worried that these colors wouldn't do Central Park justice, but I think this turned out a really happy and colorful layout, and I really like it. And so I'm going to pull in this blue polka dot paper to kind of help with that whole standout of the special photo on the layout on the left side. And I cut a strip of it off because I will put that strip on the right side of the layout just to kind of tie in that blue, and since it kind of pops up. And I think this turned out really cute. Like I said, Brandi Jo had a bunch of squares of different pattern papers, and I thought that I was going to do that. But, and it's still, her layout's amazing. But I just really liked this blue, and I thought that it kind of made those flowers pop up. And so I still have the inspiration from her where it was that kind of main photo on the left side, and I really like how this turned out. So amazing inspiration. But and this photo also, I had a little bit bigger of a photo mat, again, just to make it like that is the primary photo. And I pulled in this Tim Holtz stencil, and I used some ground espresso and put it through the stencil, and it just added some kind of splatters, some brown splatters. And I thought that just kind of grunged up that blue a little bit to pull in the brown that I put down the middle of the layout as well. And it's very subtle. It's not thick at all. And then once the embellishments are on, you can only see little bits of it. But I think that just kind of grunged up that blue paper a little bit, and I like it. And I took my stylus and my foam, and I just kind of gave some texture to the floral that I put down. Just like when the light hits it a little bit, you can see the texture, you can feel it a little bit. It doesn't add any kind of dimension or anything to the layout. It just kind of makes those flowers not seem so flat on that page. So I do it to my flowers and my leaves all the time, but even when it's not curling up, I think just kind of using that stylus and that foam kind of just gives texture to the florals. And they're not so flat. I just don't like when it's just like flat flowers on the layout. But now I'm just going to start pulling in my embellishment clusters and getting those colors kind of all around the layout. I liked this. I never know what those called. They're like the wheels, but it's like the photo wheels. I can't think of the name of them, but I liked that one, and I did ink it because I thought the edges were really stark white. But I put that down there, and I picked the title Best Moment, and I put it over by our selfie. And you can see those other pictures are just kind of looking through Central Park at New York. It's really amazing how you're in this just concrete city everywhere, just concrete buildings as high as you can imagine. And then all of a sudden it's this beautiful green park. It's really quite amazing. And if you're in the park and you look, you can see the buildings, but then you look to the other side and it's just greenery and there's animals. I'll be scrapbooking. My husband took so many pictures of squirrels that, he got a new camera. And so every time he would find a squirrel, he was taking like nature photos, which I just find hilarious that there's nature photos in New York. But either way, the Central Park was just amazing and we really enjoyed it. And on the other side here, you can see where I put in that blue strip just to kind of tie in the left side of the layout. And these are, again, just some fun photos. My husband in Central Park, and then he took pictures of me on the bridge and by the tree. And so this side, I put the title Photo Op, and it says Memories of a Lifetime. And that little tag that I slide down on the left, eventually I will put some journaling. But you know how it goes. I always leave a spot for my journaling, and then I won't do it until I go to put it in my layout or in my albums. While I'm gathering all of my embellishments for this side, make sure that you guys go and check out all of the ladies that are part of Scraplift Crafternoon. All their information is below, so you can see how they interpret Brandi's amazing layout and get inspiration from them and give them love, as well as go visit Brandi's Instagram. She has beautiful layouts there. Give her some likes and some love. Also, thank you to everyone who has liked and subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit those buttons below. I would love to have you. And I'm just finishing up again with these few things. I decided to put that kind of splatters on my tag down there by the photo that I eventually will put my journaling, just to kind of tie in that splatter from the left side. And like I said, I haven't done a 2-page layout in a long time, and so it was kind of fun to remember that I need to try to tie in my layouts from left to right and kind of add everything. But I do really like how this layout turned out. Like I said, I was a little worried that like these colors wouldn't do justice for Central Park. I was thinking I needed to have greens and browns, but I really think that it added a lot to the photos and kind of brought out how beautiful Central Park is. And not to mention this 49 and Market Spice collection is amazing, and it's a fall collection. I can't wait to do some fall photos with the pumpkins that are in the collection. But anyways, I digress. Thank you again, everyone, and I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.